My wife suggested a 2-week separation to evaluate our marriage. On the third day, she shared a post featuring another man, prompting me to conclude the game before she had a chance to react. I am a 32-year-old man who first encountered Emily, a 30-year-old woman, when I was 27 years old. We have celebrated 3 years of marriage and have been together for a total of 5 years. I am a certified welder, earning $95,000 while working on industrial construction projects. She works as a receptionist at a mid-sized firm located downtown, earning approximately half of that amount. The residence we inhabit belongs to me. I purchased it 2 years prior to our marriage using funds from my inheritance, and I ensured that it remained titled exclusively in my name. We divide household expenses approximately 70-30, as my income is about twice hers. She made contributions towards groceries, utilities, and home enhancements, yet the mortgage remained solely my responsibility. The initial 2 years of marriage were characterized by the usual experiences, navigating whose responsibility it was to handle the dishes, engaging in debates over the thermostat settings, and organizing vacations that were just beyond our financial reach. She desired to travel to Europe. I aimed to accelerate the repayment of the mortgage, typical of the adjustment period for newlyweds. The residence is a 1950s ranch that I personally renovated. I obtained permits, completed the majority of the electrical and plumbing tasks on weekends, constructed a workshop in the garage, refinished the hardwood floors, and upgraded the kitchen with granite countertops and stainless steel appliances. I invested approximately $40,000 and dedicated 2 years of hard work to this endeavor. The present value stands at approximately $280,000 in a rapidly gentrifying neighborhood. Approximately 8 months ago, a notable change began when Emily re-established her connection with her college friend Ashley. Ashley returned to town following a tumultuous divorce without children, receiving $10,500 monthly in alimony from a tech executive who allegedly strayed. She resided in a stylish downtown loft, frequenting bars each weekend, sharing Instagram stories that celebrated the essence of living your best life and refusing to settle for anything less. Upon their first encounter at a barbecue, my best friend Stefan promptly dubbed her the life coach. Stefan has been my steadfast companion since our college days. A software developer known for his brutal honesty and unwavering intolerance for drama and a penchant for dark humor. Upon seeing Ashley's designer handbag and faux eyelashes, he made his judgment without hesitation. Ashley, at 28, sported bleached blonde hair and embodied the type of woman who believes that having an opinion on every subject adds to her allure. She consistently smiled just a moment longer than necessary at me, chuckled a bit too heartily at my jokes. I attributed it to extroverted energy at that time. I ought to have been more aware. She would arrive at our home in her leased BMW, consistently attired as if heading to a nightclub, and always equipped with a fresh piece of relationship advice that seemed to originate from a daytime talk show. The woman epitomized a series of warning signs, having experienced a divorce after just 18 months of marriage. Her skills were limited to the art of financial dependency, coupled with an overwhelming brand of positivity that could drive even the most balanced individuals to despair. However, she possessed Emily's attention. Out of the blue, Emily began returning home with fresh perspectives on relationships, expressing that we had grown too complacent, that marriage shouldn't resemble a roommate situation, and that thriving couples push each other to maintain the excitement. It all felt like repurposed notions from the latest relationship podcast Ashley had stumbled upon that week. The altercation began modestly. Why didn't I arrange more spontaneous outings? What was the reason behind my consistent late nights at work? What was it that prevented me from feeling jealous when other guys engaged with her at parties? It is a classic example of manufactured drama, though I have yet to fully recognize it. I was engaged in a significant commercial endeavor, a 12-story office building located downtown, which was lagging by 3 months and exceeding the budget by $200,000. an undertaking that can define careers in my industry. I dedicated 60 hours each week, occasionally working on Saturdays, in an effort to prevent the project from descending into chaos. However, based on Ashley's perspective on relationships, my dedication to maintaining our financial stability was interpreted as evidence of my lack of concern for our marriage. This is beyond imagination. By December, our conflicts had become a regular occurrence, happening twice a week. The pattern was always the same. She would choose a trivial issue, blow it out of proportion into a personal attack, and then feign confusion when I refrained from participating in the ensuing drama. I would attempt to address the issues at hand, yet she would label me as emotionally unavailable. The dispute during Christmas centered around the tree. After a demanding 12-hour day spent coordinating with structural engineers and city inspectors, I returned home utterly fatigued. To my surprise, she was disappointed that I didn't express sufficient enthusiasm for the tree she had purchased. It wasn't that I disliked it, rather my lack of apparent excitement was the issue. Stefan articulated it succinctly. She is creating issues because her divorced friend suggested that marriage ought to resemble a reality TV show. I began my work later, partly due to the project deadline, but primarily because home resembled a treacherous minefield. She interpreted that as evidence of my indifference towards our marriage, a quintessential catch-22. I was unaware that Ashley was not merely influencing my wife's thoughts with relationship advice. She was actively urging her to consider alternative possibilities. The pivotal moment arrived on a Thursday in January. I arrived home around 7 p.m., which isn't particularly late, and discovered Emily seated at our kitchen table, appearing as though she had been practicing something throughout the day. She had already dined without me, which was a departure from our usual practice. We typically waited for one another, even if it meant eating at 8 or 9 p.m. "We must have a conversation," she stated. I retrieved some leftover Chinese cuisine from the refrigerator and took a seat. The sweet and sour pork arrived at a less than ideal temperature, yet my hunger prevailed, rendering me indifferent to its chill. "I have been contemplating our relationship and the direction in which we are moving. I believe it would be beneficial for us to take a break," she stated. I ceased consumption of food, a temporary break lasting a week or two to assess our feelings while apart, to recall the reasons behind our love. I was fully aware of the source of this situation. Ashley had been sharing this narrative for months, emphasizing how her ex-husband failed to appreciate her until she departed, illustrating the notion that absence enhances affection. I had encountered this very conversation previously. My friend Jake experienced a similar situation 2 years prior. His wife sought a respite to rediscover her identity. She discovered her true self, nestled in bed with her yoga instructor. He lost half of his 401k and is now paying $1,800 monthly in child support. "Are you looking to part ways?" I inquired. "I'd like us to act as if we're not married for a short time. Let's determine if we truly miss one another and if you're willing to fight for our relationship." And there it stood, the genuine agenda. This situation was not merely about occupying space. It was about compelling me to perform for her attention, forcing me to demonstrate my love through anxiety and urgency. I observed my wife of 3 years, seated before me, delivering her carefully prepared speech, employing the strategies she had learned from her tumultuous friend. A chill swept through me, leaving an unsettling void within. I chose to simply shrug rather than engage in argument or pleading. "Very well," I acknowledged. She blinked. "Is that acceptable? If that is your desire." Her face instantly reflected disappointment. She anticipated that I would dispute, plead, or perform some elaborate display. I simply nodded and returned to my leftover Chinese food, as if she had merely requested that I pick up milk on my way home. At that moment, I realized our marriage was likely coming to an end. Not due to the break request itself, but rather because she felt let down that I didn't contest it. She craved drama more than she desired to resolve any issues. I promptly sent a message to Stefan right after she retired for the night. Emily is considering a break from her marriage. His response arrived in just 30 seconds. Quite amusing. Is this the concept proposed by the life coach? What will be your next step? I'll allow her to take her break and observe the outcome. Intelligent. Nothing expresses affection quite like carefully crafted relationship assessments. It appears that Stefan held an optimistic view regarding the timeline. That night, we set the rules in place. For 2 weeks, we pretended as if we were not married. She would remain with Ashley, maintaining no communication aside from matters related to the household or emergencies. We will conduct a reassessment after a period of 14 days. She prepared 2 suitcases the following morning, primarily filled with her professional attire and sufficient casual clothing for a fortnight. I assisted her in loading the items into her Honda Civic and observed as she drove off. The house exuded a distinct atmosphere right away, more subdued, yet in a pleasant manner. I would prefer to enjoy ESPN without discussions surrounding toxic masculinity. I can enjoy cereal for dinner without delving into the complexities of my nutritional decisions. After several months, I finally found the opportunity to unwind in my own living room. On that initial evening, I indulged in a large pizza, opened a can of Coke, and immersed myself in the complete Predator trilogy, all while enjoying the experience without any discussions on the implications of action movies and their portrayal of stereotypes. It was magnificent. Stefan arrived that initial weekend with takeout from the Thai restaurant we had frequented since our college days. He brought his laptop, and we dedicated 3 hours to establishing a fantasy football league for the upcoming season, a matter I haven't had the opportunity to contemplate for several months. "So, how is the single life treating you?" he inquired. "Quite satisfactory indeed. I spent 3 hours watching football yesterday, yet there was no discussion on how sports can reflect male emotional repression." Stefan almost found himself in a precarious situation with his pad Thai. Did she really say that? Among various aspects, it seems that my fascination with the Cowboys' playoff journey was hindering my ability to process my emotions in a constructive manner. That weekend, I engaged in an activity I hadn't partaken in for years. I meticulously reviewed our financial situation, including our joint checking accounts, savings, both credit cards, and the student loans I had been assisting her in paying off. I began the process of meticulously recording all shared assets and liabilities. Our joint savings amounted to approximately $35,000, complemented by an additional $15,000 in a joint checking account. Her student loan balance remained at $28,000 for a marketing degree that secured her a $45,000 position handling phone calls and managing appointments. For the past 2 years, I have been allocating an additional $400 each month towards it, aiming to expedite the payoff process. I meticulously recorded the enhancements we implemented in the house together. Over the course of 3 years, she contributed approximately $8,000 for materials and appliances, primarily for the kitchen renovation. I completed all the work personally and invested an additional $32,000 of my own funds. On Monday morning, I reached out to Dave, not to initiate any formalities just yet, but to gain clarity on my available options. Dave provided a comprehensive overview of Texas divorce law, including asset division and potential outcomes if circumstances took a turn for the worse. The positive aspect was that the house would remain my possession, as it was classified as separate property obtained prior to the marriage. The enhancements proved to be more complex. However, given my substantial investment of both effort and funds, I would probably retain the majority of the value. At the conclusion of the first week, I had transferred 50% of our shared savings into a distinct account, entirely within legal bounds as it constituted marital property, and I possessed equal access. I have updated my direct deposit to be directed into my individual checking account rather than the joint account. She sent me a single text during that initial week, expressing hope that I was considering us. I presented the text to Stefan. "What is your interpretation of that?" The life coach indicated that you would be in a state of emotional distress by this point, pleading for her return. On the contrary, you are likely experiencing a level of relaxation that you haven't felt in months. It must be quite perplexing for her. On the 10th day, Ashley made contact. It seems she concluded that 2 weeks was ample time to take action. On Tuesday afternoon, I received a text from an unsaved number. "Hello, I hope you are doing well." We had not engaged in one-on-one texting prior to this. I maintained a concise yet cordial approach, and I'm doing well. This entire situation is quite peculiar. Indeed, that's quite true. Elle has been experiencing a significant amount of stress. Perhaps we could meet for coffee to discuss this further. Rather than terminating it right away, I chose to engage with it. Indeed, that could be beneficial. On Thursday evening, we convened at a Starbucks located near her apartment complex. She arrived in attire that suggested a night out at a club. A fitted black dress, expertly applied makeup, and a generous spritz of perfume set the scene for a coffee meeting with her friend's husband amidst a marital upheaval. The dress was designed with a low cut, allowing me a clear view whenever she leaned forward to reach for her latte, a gesture she made often during our discussion. Exceedingly understated. "I feel terrible about this whole situation," she said, leaning forward across the small table. "You both complemented each other exceptionally well." Indeed, that was my belief. That is the reason she dedicated 8 months to informing my wife that we were uninteresting. Were we, indeed? All the recent conflicts, that is simply her experiencing confusion. She is uncertain about her desires. Ashley extended her hand and made contact with mine. "However, I can perceive the extent of your pain." Her nails were adorned in a deep red hue, likely a $50 investment at the salon, indicative of a grooming routine that necessitates weekly visits and exudes an air of high maintenance. I allowed her to maintain contact for a brief moment before gently withdrawing. The experience has been challenging. If you find yourself in need of a listening ear, please know that I am available to talk, whether it be day or night. The dialogue persisted for a full hour. She expressed that I was worthy of more, that Emily failed to recognize the value of what she possessed, and that if she were united with someone like me, the circumstances would be transformed. As we parted ways, she embraced me with an intensity that lingered beyond the moment. This experience was truly delightful. We ought to arrange another occasion in the near future. I drove home and promptly called Stefan. "You won't believe this. Allow me to speculate. The life coach is likely already browsing for wedding dresses." She practically launched herself at me, her dress plunging to her navel, her hands brushing against mine as she spoke about how I deserved better. The woman possesses an extraordinary level of patience, akin to that of a hungry shark. Certainly she does. It is likely that she devised this plan prior to proposing the break to Emily. This resembles a 3-step guide to disrupting relationships. What are your thoughts? Act oblivious. Allow her to believe she is being discreet while you meticulously record every detail. This is poised to become quite intriguing. In the days that followed, Ashley intensified her outreach. Regular messages inquiring about my well-being, proposing another meeting, and sharing images accompanied by notes such as, "Thinking of you during this challenging period." The photographs were clearly intentional. She is at the gym wearing yoga pants, dining solo once more at a restaurant. She lounges by the pool at her apartment complex, dressed in a bikini. Each one crafted to serve as a reminder of the opportunities that awaited me should I navigate my choices wisely. Stefan was thoroughly enjoying her messages. Take a moment to appreciate this. I trust you recognize your unique value. Is she merely a greeting card? Shortly, she will be sharing with you a collection of motivational quotes centered around the theme of following your heart. I engaged with her sufficiently to maintain her interest while carefully avoiding any boundaries, presenting myself as open and receptive to her attention. At that moment, she took decisive action. On Friday evening, I have something to share with you, but I'm uncertain if I should proceed. Could you please clarify what it is? Would it be possible for us to arrange a meeting? This is not suitable for text. We convened at the same location. She appeared anxious, frequently glancing at her phone as if anticipating an incoming call. I regret to bring this to your attention, but I believe it is important for you to be informed. She inhaled deeply, as if preparing to share some heart-wrenching news. Emily has been involved with someone. I allowed the suitable degree of astonishment to manifest on my expression. Excuse me? Is his name Scott? She encountered him at a professional conference last month. I have observed their interactions, and they lack innocence. Ashley mentioned that Scott held the position of marketing director in Austin, a man in his mid-30s, recently divorced, who drives a BMW and is employed at a tech company. He likely has a LinkedIn profile picture featuring him gesturing towards a whiteboard. Are you certain? I observed them during dinner last evening. Extremely inviting. She has been untruthful about her whereabouts when she departs from my apartment. Ashley extended her hand and grasped mine. I sincerely apologize. This may be painful, but it is important for you to be informed. The communication was unequivocal. I was presented with two options. Choose to contend for a disloyal partner or elevate to a steadfast companion who would never deceive me in such a manner. What an unexpected turn of events. I portrayed the heartbroken husband with exceptional skill. I am astonished that she would take such an action. This situation is not warranted for you. You are worthy of someone who truly appreciates you. That night I returned home and finally took the action I should have undertaken weeks earlier. I have reviewed our shared devices and accounts. Emily had forgotten her iPad at home when she relocated. She remains logged into her iCloud account. The password was retained from when I assisted her in setting it up several months prior. Her text messages synchronized seamlessly across all her devices. I discovered 3 weeks' worth of discussions with Scott, beginning quite innocently, industry rumors and chatter, concerns regarding a client who struggled to finalize decisions on branding colors. However, by the second week, it had become personal. Concerns regarding our marriage. Her feelings of being unappreciated. Engaging in conversation with him brought back the sensation of being truly desired. The recent messages were clear and direct. Arrangements for a meeting. Conversations regarding their relationship. Images I certainly did not wish to encounter. The timestamps indicated that she had been messaging him throughout our break, including immediately after she sent me that message regarding her thoughts about us. I captured all the information and securely stored it in my personal cloud storage. In the span of 3 weeks, I received 47 messages, which included a dozen photos and multiple voice messages that I found too difficult to listen to. I proceeded to review our joint credit card statements online. In the past week, I have indulged in 3 lavish dinners at various restaurants throughout the city. Locations I was previously unfamiliar with, bearing names such as Meridian and the Capitol Grill. A charge from the Omni Downtown Hotel dated 2 nights ago. $280 for a single night. Every occasion when she informed Ashley of her plans to visit Target or meet with colleagues. The hotel charge was the decisive factor. She utilized our shared visa to secure a room where she was engaging with another man, all the while requesting that I remain on standby as if I were merely a contingency option. I reached out to Stefan. I have located it. She has been involved with a gentleman from Austin. Absolutely not. Receipts for credit card transactions, charges for hotel accommodations, 3 weeks of text exchanges coordinating their encounters. Everything you need is right here. Indeed. She persuaded your wife to step away, allowing her to betray her, and then approached you with the details as if she were a devoted confidant. That is an impressive display of manipulation. What is your perspective on her ultimate objective? She believes that your appreciation for her unwavering loyalty, combined with the pain of Emily's betrayal, will lead you to seek solace in her embrace. Timeless rebound approach. She dismantles your marriage only to present herself as the superior option. She is on the verge of discovering how that will unfold for her. I reached out to Dave first thing on Monday morning. I possess documentation of infidelity, including text messages, hotel charges, and restaurant receipts. Excellent. Please deliver all items to my office. We will prepare the documents. Dave examined the evidence for an hour, perusing the text messages with the calm objectivity of someone who had encountered this narrative countless times prior. The text messages are highly incriminating. The financial records corroborate the timeline, and all materials were acquired in accordance with legal standards. Based on this evidence, you can expect to retain the house as separate property, receive 60 to 65% of joint assets, and have no obligation for spousal support, he stated. She relinquished her rights upon committing adultery. What is the estimated time required to prepare everything? Kindly allow me 3 days. I require this to be completely sealed. The 3 days in question were undoubtedly among the most peculiar of my existence. I approached my work as if everything was normal, overseeing the construction project that had successfully returned to schedule and remained under budget. Returned to my serene abode. Placed an order for takeout. Enjoyed watching television free from any judgment regarding my selection of shows. In the meantime, I maintained the facade of a heartbroken husband with Ashley, allowing her to console me regarding the distressing news she had shared, while I listened to her express her thoughts on what a poor friend Emily had been to both of us. Ashley expressed her disbelief during yet another coffee meeting, remarking on the situation and all that you've done for her. Certain individuals fail to recognize the value of what they possess. Precisely, I remarked, fulfilling my role. Perhaps there is a purpose behind this occurrence. Perhaps it was essential for you to discover her true self. She extended her hand across the table and grasped mine. Perhaps it was essential for me to understand your true nature as well. Stefan was nearly taken aback when I recounted that conversation to him afterward. She truly delivered that with an unwavering expression. Perhaps it was essential for me to understand your true nature. Is this a romantic comedy? Following this, she will discuss the concepts of destiny and soulmates. On Thursday morning, I delivered the divorce papers to Emily at her office. Expert process server, adhering strictly to established protocols. The documents contained curated text message excerpts alongside financial records that revealed the affair. She called back within the hour. What is this? Documents for divorce accompanied by proof of infidelity. This was intended to be a brief intermission. We intended to resolve our issues. You resolved it with Scott instead. I trust that your evening at the Omni justified the $280 expense. The stillness was overwhelming. I could almost sense her mind racing to unravel how I had discovered the information about the hotel. How did you... Your iPad connects seamlessly with iCloud. Each text message, every photograph, and all the arrangements you crafted together with him. I possess 3 weeks' worth of evidence. Did you access my private messages? She explored several additional perspectives. The pause granted her the freedom she needed. She found herself in a state of confusion. She never intended for it to reach this point. It was all inconsequential. This is extraordinary. It was merely a text message. The hotel receipt indicates a different outcome. The restaurant incurs charges as well. A prolonged silence ensues. Ending our marriage over this is simply not an option. I have no intention of ending our marriage. You initiated that when you began seeing Scott while requesting that I remain on standby, as if I were merely a contingency option. However, her subsequent reply truly revealed her authentic character. Rather than expressing any regret or offering an apology, she escalated the situation dramatically. Do you realize something? I am pleased that I took that step. Scott genuinely cares for me. He engages with me rather than simply grunting upon returning home from work. He transports me to various destinations, presents me with gifts, and ensures I feel cherished. Utilizing our shared credit card. indifferent. At least he holds a legitimate position, rather than engaging in menial tasks that leave one feeling unkempt and unpleasant. It was there. After 3 years of marriage, she reveals her true self entirely. In an instant, my welding career, which had funded everything, felt reduced to mere grunt work. The same job that financed her car, funded her vacations, and ensured her student loans remained up to date. An individual currently earning double your salary while handling phone inquiries. Scott is already discussing the possibility of securing me a more advantageous role at his company in Austin, a place where ambition thrives. Wishing you the best with that endeavor. I trust that Scott is fully aware of what he is committing to. He values my presence. In contrast to your perspective, he values the convenience of having his hotel expenses covered by another person's spouse. Truly enchanting. She terminated the call abruptly. Stefan was in a critical state when I shared the details of the conversation with him. She referred to welding as grunt work, the very welding that has been covering her expenses for the past 3 years. So she's considering relocating to Austin with him? That woman has utterly lost her senses. The divorce proceedings spanned a duration of 4 months. Emily explored every possible approach. The pause granted her the freedom she needed. The emotional affair remained non-physical until the hotel receipts revealed a different story, and her words inadvertently betrayed her. She found herself in a state of confusion and manipulation. None of it adhered. Her attorney was a woman who focused on women's rights and divorce cases. It was inconsequential. Evidence is evidence, and the laws in Texas regarding adultery are unequivocal. However, Emily's genuine character was revealed throughout the proceedings. Rather than expressing any regret or attempting to reach a fair negotiation, she insisted on receiving half of all assets, including the house. Upon hearing her lawyer's explanation that adultery influenced property division, she erupted in a fit of rage within the law office, resulting in her temporary ban from the premises. Throughout this period, Ashley maintained her role as a supportive friend with remarkable precision. Consistent messages inquiring about my well-being, proposals for coffee meetings, and subtle indications regarding advancing our relationship after the divorce is finalized. The woman had transformed emotional manipulation into a captivating form of performance art. Each message was meticulously designed to convey warmth and encouragement, all while establishing her as the clear enhancement. She likely dedicated more time to refining her messages than the average person does on their resumes. She resembled a vulture, hovering over a lifeless marriage, Stefan noted. Most likely maintains a countdown calendar marking the moment of becoming officially single. I participated sufficiently to maintain her interest, met with her for coffee on 2 additional occasions, allow her to provide me with solace regarding the divorce proceedings, heard her discuss the negative impact Emily had on both of us. The meetings consistently adhered to the same pattern each time. She would arrive as if she were preparing for a music video audition, dedicate an hour to discussing the extent of her support. Subsequently, provide progressively clearer suggestions regarding our shared future. "I feel an overwhelming sense of guilt," she expressed during one meeting. "Had I not mentioned Scott, perhaps you would have been able to resolve the situation." Indeed, if she hadn't informed me about the affair she likely instigated from the outset. "You made the correct choice," I remarked. "I sought to uncover the truth. It pains me to witness you enduring this situation. You are worthy of far greater things." She extended her hand across the table and grasped mine. "When you feel prepared and have moved past this, I want you to know that I will be here for you in any way you require." The message was unmistakably clear, as if she had presented me with a business card proclaiming rebound relationship services available around the clock. Stefan was on the verge of toppling from his chair when I shared the news with him. "She indeed expressed in any manner you require. Is she merely a comprehensive consolation prize? Is there a warranty included with her? The final settlement was received in May. I retained the residence, my retirement funds, and 65% of our shared assets. Emily acquired her vehicle, her personal possessions, and her student loan obligations. No spousal support will be granted as she was the party at fault for the infidelity. The property itself held a value of $280,000, with a mortgage balance of $180,000 deducted from that amount. Thanks to the enhancements I implemented, I retained approximately $100,000 in equity, in addition to another $32,000 from our shared savings and investments. She departed with approximately $18,000 and a Honda Civic that had 90,000 miles on the odometer. Yet, even at that moment, she remained unwilling to take responsibility. At the final settlement meeting, she audaciously expressed her dissatisfaction, claiming that the division was inequitable and that I was penalizing her for pursuing her true desires. "Are you pursuing your passions?" I stated. "You utilized our shared credit card to cover hotel accommodations with another individual. Scott and I share a profound connection, one that may be beyond your comprehension. The total expense amounted to $280, in addition to dining at 3 distinct restaurants." Her attorney was compelled to physically hold her back from leaping over the conference table. The woman had entirely lost her composure. Stefan remarked, "That's the consequence of attempting to have your cake and eat it too." On the day the divorce was finalized, Ashley extended an invitation for a celebration at a sophisticated restaurant in the heart of downtown. She had chosen the venue, Meridian, one of those establishments where appetizers are priced at $30, and the waitstaff seemed to regard your presence as an unwelcome distraction from their true passion for the stage. She paused at my suggestion of the venue, likely contemplating the sudden desire I had to indulge in a fine dining experience. However, her ambition eclipsed her instincts. She arrived in a dress that likely exceeded the cost of my car payment, evidently anticipating that this would be the evening she reaped the rewards of her efforts to undermine my marriage. She expressed her pride in how you managed everything, as they enjoyed appetizers that resembled modern art, yet delivered a taste of disappointment. "Your strength throughout the entire process was truly remarkable. I received excellent support. I was pleased to assist. The truth is something you rightfully deserve to know." She extended her hand across the table, and at last, we can embrace the truth of what has been developing between us. I observed her from across the table, impeccably styled, adorned in a designer dress, with a predatory smile that seemed rehearsed in front of a mirror, and was overcome with a sense of revulsion. "Ashley, I have something important to share with you. Could you please clarify what it is? You have caused the dissolution of my marriage. Excuse me. Indeed, I assisted you in understanding the true nature of Emily. You attempted to create a rift between us in order to pursue a relationship with me. You prompted her to cheat, then hurried to me with the details as if you were a devoted friend." Ashley's complexion turned ashen beneath her foundation. For the first time in my acquaintance with her, she appeared truly taken aback. "That is not the case. I would never do such a thing." "You certainly would. Indeed, you accomplished that. You influenced a woman to undermine her marriage in pursuit of her husband. I held both of you in high regard. I aimed to shield you from further pain. You were safeguarding your own interests. An opportunity presented itself, and you seized it." I rose from my seat and placed 2 $20 bills on the table. "The most disheartening aspect is that you genuinely believe I would desire to be with someone who is capable of such actions. Where are you headed?" "Dinner has yet to be served. I am returning to my residence, solitary, to the home I retained due to my prudent decision not to place my trust in individuals such as yourself. What is our situation?" I gazed down at her, still poised in her luxurious dress, finally grasping that her intricate scheming had yielded her precisely nothing. "We do not exist as a unit. There has never been. Your behavior is detrimental to relationships, seemingly for your own amusement. However, I provided assistance to you. I shared the truth regarding Emily with you. You revealed to me the reality of an affair that you prompted her to pursue. You devised the issue, subsequently presenting yourself as the remedy. That is not assistance. This constitutes sabotage within a marketing campaign. However, my work was not complete. I possessed one additional card to utilize. An hour prior, I had sent a message to Emily. Ashley has something significant to share regarding Scott, and it's essential for you to listen. She responded immediately. Just 10 minutes into dinner, she entered the restaurant, her gaze immediately searching for any sign of blood. What is she doing here? Ashley's voice ascended an octave. It seems there are numerous topics for you both to explore. I will allow you to proceed. I rose and made my way to the exit, but not without first calling Stefan. You should head to Meridian Restaurant immediately. What is occurring? A performance review is imminent for the life coach from her former client. I could hear Emily's voice elevating behind me. You arranged for me to meet Scott. It was not as such. My intention was to assist you. Please assist me. You have shattered my marriage in your pursuit to take my husband. I arrived at the parking lot precisely when the situation began to escalate. From the vantage point of the restaurant windows, I observed both women now on their feet, animatedly gesturing. Other patrons began to take notice, their phones emerging to capture the unfolding spectacle. Stefan arrived precisely as the true spectacle commenced. "Wow, they're really going for it," he remarked as he stepped out of his truck. "This surpasses pay-per-view options." Emily's voice resonated distinctly through the glass. "This has been in the works for several months. He shows no interest in you whatsoever. He selected me. He has simply declined your advances, and it appears you may be misinterpreting the situation." At that moment, Ashley hurled an object that appeared to be her water glass. It crashed against the wall behind Emily, prompting her to seize Ashley's designer purse and spill its contents across the table. "This is becoming quite intriguing," Stefan remarked, as he began to dial 911. "Greetings, law enforcement. I wish to bring to your attention a disturbance occurring at the Meridian Restaurant located downtown. From our vantage point by the window, we observed Ashley propel herself across the table towards Emily, who seized her by the hair. Both of them fell, bringing down half of the table setting in the process. Other patrons hurriedly retreated from their table as plates shattered on the floor. "Shall we offer our assistance?" I inquired. "Assistance needed. This is the finest entertainment I have experienced all year. Both are receiving precisely what is rightfully theirs." The restaurant manager intervened, attempting to separate them, yet Ashley forcefully pushed him aside and pursued Emily once more. Emily retaliated by hurling what appeared to be a breadbasket, striking Ashley squarely in the face. When the police arrived 5 minutes later, both women were on the floor, hair disheveled, makeup smeared, shouting at one another as the restaurant staff worked to restore order. A number of other patrons were capturing the moment with their mobile devices. Both officers exchanged glances, their expressions reflecting the familiarity of individuals accustomed to handling such situations. Both of you are hereby placed under arrest for the offenses of disturbing the peace and assault. From the parking lot, Stefan and I observed as the officers placed handcuffs on both women and secured them in separate patrol cars, their voices still raised in a heated exchange through the windows. They spent the night in county holding. It seems that public screaming and throwing dinnerware do not fall under the category of typical girl drama. Stefan remarked that it was truly exquisite. The following morning, I received a call from Emily, who was at the county jail. "This is entirely your fault," she stated without hesitation. "Could you clarify how your altercation with Ashley is attributed to me? You orchestrated our downfall. This was part of your plan. I conveyed to her the reality of her actions regarding our marriage. Your subsequent actions were completely at your discretion. Our arrest was a direct consequence of your actions. Both of you were taken into custody for choosing to engage in a cage match within a public dining establishment. The responsibility lies with you. However, she had not yet finished exhibiting her sense of entitlement. "I require your assistance to secure my release. I am your wife, now your ex-wife as of yesterday, and I do not have any obligations to fulfill for you. I have no one else to reach out to. Scott is not responding to his phone calls. That appears to be an individual concern. Please don't abandon me in this situation." The call lasted approximately 3 minutes before she ended the conversation. Stefan was in a state of despair when I recounted the events to him afterward. "That woman is incredibly bold. I will concede that point to her." The two women were detained overnight and subsequently fined for their disturbance of the peace. Emily was also responsible for covering the costs associated with the damaged property at the restaurant, totaling approximately $800 for broken dishes, glassware, and cleaning fees. The event captured attention across multiple social media platforms as a divorce dispute escalated into a restaurant altercation. A complete recording of the event was captured on a mobile device and subsequently shared on TikTok. The video amassed 80,000 views within its inaugural week. A comment received 500 likes, stating, "When keeping it real goes wrong." Emily returned to reside with her parents in suburban Dallas. As of the latest update, she is employed at another company earning a similar salary. However, she now has a criminal record due to a viral video. Scott concluded the relationship upon realizing he had been a pawn in the dissolution of a marriage, only to face public humiliation in a viral altercation at a restaurant. The most amusing aspect was that Scott seemingly attempted to distance himself from her following the arrest, yet she persistently appeared at his office in Austin, seeking to resolve their issues. The company was required to engage building security. A man transitioned from believing he was a charismatic figure to requiring a restraining order. Ashley made attempts to connect for weeks following the arrest incident, oscillating between expressions of remorse and allegations. "I sincerely apologize. I am unsure what prompted my behavior. You escalated the situation, manipulating both of us and ultimately leading to the destruction of 2 friendships." After much consideration, I decided to block her number when she unexpectedly arrived at my home one Saturday morning, insisting on understanding why I was treating her unfairly despite her being a good friend. The residence exudes a sense of warmth and familiarity once more. Eliminated all decorative pillows that lack functionality. The aromatic candles that were never permitted to be ignited. Acquired a stylish sectional couch, a 65-inch television for the living room, and transformed the spare bedroom into a functional home office. Sometimes, trash truly manages to remove itself.